Please welcome Corporate Vice President Business Intelligence Products Group, Microsoft, James Phillips.
Good morning. Wow. I said it last year. I said, wow, 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 after the video, and then I looked at the room, and we had people standing around the edges and said, we need to get a bigger room. And I think we need to get a bigger room again. We have sold out for the second year running. We sold out about 5 weeks early. We've got about 2,500 people in the room. Don't tell the fire marshal. Just kidding. No, seriously, I'm just kidding. So we've got 2 days of some pretty amazing sessions lined up, and I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your busy schedules to come join us. As I've said before, and as I'll say again throughout the day, and as you'll see, I think the thing that's most exciting about Power BI is this community, the people who have rallied around this service in order to help make it what it is. And so today we're going to go through in my keynote sort of 3 stanzas, if you will. We'll talk about the momentum we have right now in the service, kind of what we've done, where we've been. We'll talk about a couple of announcements that we're making today, and then in the words of Marshawn Lynch, in some ways, I'm just here to introduce Amir Netz, because I know that's what everyone wants to see. He's going to show all the amazing stuff that's coming. And again, this year I've told the team I don't want to show anything that's not shipping within the next 3 months. So we're not going to show off, pie in the sky, what may happen 1 year. We're going to show stuff that's coming out today and over the next quarter. And so it's a great deep look. And the team, as you can expect, has held back a lot of amazing stuff. So we've got just sort of a giant bulge of massive awesomeness coming in the next 3 months, and we'll show that in Amir's session. So a couple of years ago, and we're not even 2 years generally available with Power BI at this point, but a couple of years ago, we set out to do something fundamentally different. We looked at the BI landscape, we looked at business analytics, we saw the cloud and the impact that it was having on the delivery of software, the impact that mobile and other devices were having on the ability to consume data and to get value out of data, and really set out to do something different. We created this cloud service called Power BI. And Power BI is more than just the sort of app.powerbi.com SaaS service. I think of Power BI as this amazing cloud service that does a couple of things. One, on one side, it sort of reaches back to your data. And we have more data connectivity options now in Power BI than any other BI vendor in the industry, period. It is a very, very rich ecosystem of connectivity back to the data you care about. One of the unique things about Power BI is that notwithstanding, it's a cloud service and all the good stuff that comes with that, the ability to sign up very, very quickly, the ability to get it in the hands of all your employees across the entire planet very, very quickly, we still allow you to reach back on premises to your data. We've got the data gateway that allows you to securely make available all the data that's sitting on premises, and let's face it, that's where a lot of the data still exists. Certainly the cloud is growing, and we believe, and I think it's at this point in time, it's not controversial that the cloud is the future, but both are critically important, and Power BI uniquely lets you reach back to your data and also embrace the data that is in the cloud. And so taking that data and allowing this cloud service to reach back and get value out of it, we've got a number of capabilities that we believe are unique, truly only enabled when you have a planet-scale cloud infrastructure. The out-of-the-box SaaS content pack. So this is a capability that we envisioned, and I'll be honest with you, when we first started on this journey, we would go out to ISVs, software companies, and say, hey, you should build a content pack for Power BI that allows your users to come sign up for Power BI and then immediately start getting value out of the data. It's not just a connector, it's the reports, it's the dashboards, it's the analytical model that allows your end users to get value out of Power BI. And it was like pulling teeth to get people to buy into this vision of Power BI, but I got to tell you, today we have hundreds of software companies lined up to go build content packs for Power BI, and it's largely because we have millions of users of the service across hundreds of thousands of companies. And so we've really, in a very short period of time, gone from selling the dream to trying to deal with the hordes that are lining up to provide this capability. And I think it continues to be a completely unique capability in the industry, the ability to get value out of your data without having to do anything except provide us with the login for the services that you use where your business data exists. The second thing that we did is to think of business intelligence not as a rear-view mirror technology. You know, historically it's been you extract, transform, load data into a model, and then you analyze and discern what happened. Power BI is a real-time service. You can see your data as it happens. If you've got IoT enabled in your manufacturing operation, streaming data about the operational state of your equipment, you can see that right now. You can alert on that right now. Even better, if you're using Azure Machine Learning or our forward-looking predictive technologies with cognitive services, you've got the ability to predict what's going to happen and take action before it becomes a problem that historically you would have been trying to spelunk the history of and understand what happened. And so really thinking differently about, you know, the nature of business intelligence, again, enabled by the cloud. Natural language query, the ability to understand spoken word and to translate the intent of those words into queries and into action. We've got years and years of deep primary research that we've done at Microsoft Research that has allowed us to bring to bear that technology in the context of business analytics. I think the next thing, the thing that I think is probably the coolest because it's just so visceral, is custom visualizations. You know, when we set out to open up the Power BI visualization stack, when we said, hey, let's change the nature of BI, not here's how you can visualize your data, I'm a BI vendor and I'm going to tell you what the options are, rather to turn the whole visualization stack into a platform. Open that up, allow the community to create visualizations, allow open source developers to create visualizations, allow our customers to build their own visualizations that are exactly right for their particular analytical scenario or their desire to look at data in the way that makes the most sense for them. And we've had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of visualizations created, some of them available through the Office store now, where the community has sort of contributed them. Most of them, though, are really specific to individual companies, you know, where companies have used the services of our partners or their own in-house developers, or they've pulled open source visualizations and modified them to create something that really just works for them. And I think that power, that sort of openness of the visualization stack itself is something unique and super powerful. And I think many of us here at Microsoft have been surprised with how much it's sort of taken hold. There was a lot of belief that, oh, you know, people are just going to use bar charts and line charts and pie. It's just not true. What we're seeing is massive utilization of this sort of escape hatch to get exactly what you need. And then the last thing I'll hit on from just a uniqueness perspective is the integration of Power BI with not just Office 365, but the rest of the entire Microsoft stack. Now, we don't require anyone to take anything from us that they don't want. If you just want to use Power BI, you can use Power BI. But I never think of Power BI in a vacuum. It's part of a larger ecosystem. If you use Microsoft Teams, Power BI shows up right there. You can add stuff into your team. If you use SharePoint, if you use Dynamics 365, if you use Excel, all of these services are aware of Power BI, have wired in Power BI, and have made it available for use in the context of the work that you're doing wherever you happen to be doing it. So it's both a great service, a reimagined approach to business analytics, and also a key ingredient in just about everything we're doing here at Microsoft. And so that's sort of the cloud service and the capability set that we've built in there, and I think it's very, very unique. Now, the other thing that it has allowed us to do is to then surface all that goodness anywhere. app.powerbi.com, the SaaS service itself. Fantastic experience for consuming data via a browser. Power BI Mobile, the ability, whether iOS, Android, Windows, to consume data on the go, where you need it, in the form that you need it. Inside of Microsoft Excel, the ability to publish out to Power BI, the ability to connect to models in the cloud, and to create pivot tables and do all the work that you want to do from inside of Excel. Embedded, we've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of ISVs, software developers, who are now embedding Power BI in their applications, not just in Microsoft. The vast majority are outside the Redmond campus, where we've got Power BI sort of as the engine of business analytics inside of the software companies that we work with, inside of their offerings. And then finally, surfacing this natural language processing capability, the ability to understand the intent of a question out through Cortana. So if you're using Windows 10 or you're using Cortana, Power BI can be connected up to Cortana and serve as an answerer, if you will, for questions that you ask of Cortana. And so any data, whether in the cloud, on premises, any way that you want to analyze it, a lot of unique capabilities delivered. It says anywhere on the slide, I'd say everywhere. It really is an unlimited ability to take that goodness and make it appear where you need it. The other thing that we've done is invested very, very heavily in making Power BI a planet-scale, globally available service. It is deployed in every single data center that we have across the globe, including international clouds. And so in Germany, in China, and for the US federal government, we've got the ability to use Power BI in these third-party operated clouds where they can guarantee the residency of the data in a form that conforms with the needs of that country and the citizens and the businesses of those countries. And so wherever you happen to be, Power BI is there, and it's both great for regulatory compliance as well as just serving a good experience to people who happen to be near that data center. And so our footprint globally, sort of building on the planet-scale infrastructure that is the Azure cloud, permits us to deliver a level of service that we believe is highly differentiated from what you would get from anyone else trying to deliver business analytics in the cloud. Now, in addition to the scale, the footprint, the ability to land your data where it needs to land, we've got lots and lots of certifications. We've spent a lot of time, energy, money, investment, blood, sweat, tears to go ensure that, regardless of the industry in which you're going to use Power BI, that we're certified, HIPAA compliant, the ability to ensure that as GDPR rolls out, which is a giant, giant requirement that's, frankly, I think, incredibly onerous, and yet a great regulatory environment in Europe, that we're spending massive amounts of investment to go ensure that our customers are GDPR compliant as they roll out Power BI. And so look across the regulatory regimes and the geographies that we support and the amount of investment required to go make all this happen. Honestly, I think it's something that only a company like Microsoft can make that level of investment to go ensure that we're covering the planet. And the numbers reflect that. So I'll just call out two here that I think are pretty amazing. Every single day, 30,000 new data models are added into the Power BI service. 30,000 a day. Every single hour, 2 million queries from dashboards and reports are executed by people who are using Power BI out in that globally distributed service. Phenomenal numbers. Hundreds of thousands of companies have adopted Power BI and are using Power BI every single day, both from a creation perspective, as measured by the number of models that are getting pushed into the cloud, and on the demand side or on the usage side based on those queries. Now, it's great to have the fans of Power BI here with us, the people who are building their businesses on the back of Power BI. It's also, I think, really rewarding to see what the external community who looks across the industry has to say about Power BI. We all love it, we all use it, we all are here to understand where it's going, but if you take a step back and look at all the options, what we're finding is that we're winning there too. And let's be honest, I mean, if we go back a couple of years, 3-4 years, there were reasonable questions about Microsoft's commitment to the business intelligence market. They were reasonable questions. I think if you look at the level of investments that we've made, the progress that we've made, the growth of our user population, I think all of those questions are far, far, far behind us. And to be able to win Editor's Choice from PC Magazine, and if you look at where we ended up this year in Gartner's Magic Quadrant, after a number of years of skepticism, we believe that we have arrived as the clear leader in business intelligence with a lot of blue water forming between us and the next best choice. So we're very, very proud of that. And honestly, the thing I'm most proud of is you, the community, because that's what made this happen. We talked about this before. We talk about it, in fact, all the time. But every choice we make with Power BI is a choice driven by the community. It's a choice driven by our users, our partners. I see people in the audience smiling right now because they see their faces on this. I mean, this is what drives Power BI. And so please give me a big round of applause for the folks in the room and online. Thank you. So let's shift gears here. So we took a look back. Let's talk about an announcement that we made today. Actually, we made the announcement a couple of weeks ago because we wanted to get the news out. But today we made generally available Power BI Premium. And if you go back and talk about community, the genesis of Power BI Premium was the community. We heard time and time and time again from our customers, from our users, from our partners, that there was a desire to not have to count users. If there are some people who want to license up individual users to use Power BI, but there's a huge mass of customers who say, look, don't force me to pick and choose who's going to have access to data. I want to create a data culture that spans my entire company. I don't want to have to license the individuals. I simply want the ability to distribute content to everyone. And that's really the primary driver of Power BI Premium. So you get this dedicated capacity in the cloud that allows you to put the analytical content, dashboards, reports, data sets into that capacity, and once there, anyone can get access to it. They don't have to be a licensed user per se or a paid user of Power BI. Anyone can get it, whether inside the company or outside. So you get the ability to embed as an ISV off of that same capacity. You can serve your internal, you can do whatever you want with it. And that flexibility to really drive a data culture without worrying about licensing every single individual is an option that it provides. Now, there are a lot of organizations who want to continue to simply license up individuals and provide the ability to create content, which is what Power BI Pro provides that's unique from Power BI Premium, but giving you this flexibility to pick and choose the right modality of data distribution is really the primary driver for Power BI Premium. Additionally, there are no restrictions on how much capacity, how many users you can serve, how often you can refresh data, how much data you can hold. It's a very, very flexible construct that gives our users the power to choose how much they want to invest in any particular sort of workspace or application with Power BI. And so again, high flexibility as opposed to a shared environment that you get normally with Power BI. And so again, a lot of flexibility there. And then finally, one of the things that we've heard frequently is the desire to distribute Power BI reports on premises from a server that's actually controlled completely and deployed perhaps behind a firewall, perhaps in a completely disconnected location. And so with Power BI Premium, we give you the choice of having your capacity on premises or in the cloud. You get to pick. When you get a license for Power BI Premium, we also give you the right to deploy a Power BI report server on premises and to deploy content from there. So flexibility, choice, really the two watchwords, I believe, for Power BI Premium. Now, I've got Siri backstage, and I'm doing everything in my power to not say H-E-Y Siri, because every phone in this auditorium would light up. But Siri, why don't you come out and show us Power BI Premium? Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. So I'm really excited to be here to demo Power BI Premium for you. But first, I'm actually going to start off inside a Power BI app. And so in this scenario, this app is a really important one for my organization, right? Like my executives look at it every single day. We really run our business off of it. So as I scroll down, what you'll see is that when I come into this app, I actually land on a dashboard, which is going to be that single pane of glass for my entire organization, right? But that's not all there is to the app. Because if I go to the top right, what I can see that is there's a bunch of additional reports and data sets and workbooks which support the app as well and which are packaged with the app. And so I can get to that either through the app content list over here, or as I scroll through and as I click into these tiles, I'll be able to navigate to that content directly. So because this app is so important to me, what I want to do is assign it to Premium to get those benefits of dedicated hardware, right? And so what I'll do is actually switch over. So what you see here is the workspaces that I'm a member of. I'm going to switch over to the workspace backing this app. And of course, this is going to be where I'll be able to collaborate with my BI team to build up the content in the app and to maintain it. And so what I can do is really quickly just flip this app into Premium. And so I'll scroll down here, open the Advanced tab, and just flip the Premium switch on. Now this user happens to have permissions to multiple different capacities, so I'll just go ahead and choose one and hit Save. And just like that, this app, this workspace, is now in Premium and is running on dedicated hardware. And you can tell because we've added this nice little diamond onto the breadcrumb here. And so once your content is in Premium, you're going to unlock a bunch of amazing special powers for that content. So the first thing I'm going to show you is I'm actually going to head over to the admin portal. Now, I happen to be an administrator for these capacities as well, so I'll click in here to get more information. And the first thing I'll see is that, it turns out there's actually 71 workspaces already assigned to this capacity. So the first special power with Premium is going to be unlimited distribution for all of this content, right? So what you can imagine, I can take all the content in all of these workspaces, I can bundle them together into apps, and then my end users will be able to consume all that content without the need for a pro license, right? So no more counting users, and as James said, we're going to really be able to build up that data culture thanks to just this special power alone, right? Now, if I scroll up, I'll also see that we make it really easy for you to see how the resources in your capacity are being utilized, CPU, memory, et cetera. And so here you can keep an eye and make sure you have the right hardware reserve to maintain a good performance for all this content below. So what I'll do now is actually I'll head back into the workspace, and I'll use this opportunity to talk about another special power that Premium provides your content, and that is the ability to refresh your data very, very often. And so here I have the critical KPIs data set, and so as the name suggests, it's going to be really important for me to keep this data set as up to date as possible, right? And so what I have here is I head into the refresh history. Let me zoom in real quick. As I head into the refresh history, you'll see that we've been able to refresh this very, very often thanks to Premium, right? With Premium, you're going to be able to refresh your data sets up to 48 times a day, right? It's much more often than you could before, and we're really excited about that. So now I'm going to give you a sneak peek at another really, really awesome limit that we're going to be able to remove with Power BI Premium. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to head into a different data set, also in Premium, right, known as the Diamond. And so this data set is actually going to encompass all the different taxi rides that happened in New York City over the past 15 years. So as you can imagine, this is a ton of data, right? And I'm going to drag in this card real quick, and you'll see that this data set contains over 2 billion rows, all of that hosted in Power BI Premium on that dedicated capacity. So we're going to start working with this data and just see how Premium performs, right? So I'm going to bring in average revenue per trip. I'm going to pivot by zip code, and here you'll see one visual. I'm going to keep going. So I'll grab another visual here, revenue per trip against trip duration. So the first thing, as I build these visuals, the first thing I want to call out is just how amazingly snappy that experience was, right? I'm able to work with just a tremendous amount of data really quickly. And of course, as I click around, as I cross-highlight, everything is just super, super fast, right? It's just incredible. It really feels like I'm working with 2,000 or 200 rows of data, not 2 billion. Now, and that's really a testament to the amount of computational power that we're able to bring to bear thanks to Premium and that dedicated hardware. Now, if we actually look at the data, we get an interesting observation, right? Which is you have these 2 zip codes here in New York City with head and shoulders more revenue per trip, average revenue per trip, than the others. So you know what? Let's keep going. Let's keep digging into this data. Let's find out why that might be, right? So I'm going to drag in a map visual, and I'm just going to plot where these pickups are taking place. Whoops. Let's try that again. And so just like that, misclicks aside, you'll see that we've been instantly able to just plot out the spatial distribution of these 2 billion trips against a gorgeous map of New York City just at an instant, right? And so we finally have the tools, I think, to answer my original question. So as I click into the first zip code here, what you'll see is that, hey, you know what? It turns out this is John F. Kennedy International Airport. And if I click into the second zip code, and you want to take a guess at what that is? Well, it turns out that is LaGuardia Airport, right? And so now I think we have a nice answer to my original question. These are the airports of New York City. People fly in. The airports are far away from New York City. They want to get into the city, and so they're going to pay some extra cab fare, right? And so this is a really great insight that we were able to get on just a tremendous amount of data really quickly using Power BI Premium. So that's going to be my demo. Just a quick recap, right? Power BI Premium is going to give you those special powers for your data. You're going to get unlimited distribution using Power BI apps, and we're going to be able to increase the limits on your data in the service across the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Siri. OK, I'm going to close out on one note, and we're going to do a pretty cool demo talking about actionable BI. So we talked about sort of all the capabilities that are unique with Power BI. And last year, we talked about sort of the next evolution of BI, actionable BI. You know, it's one thing to learn something about your data. It's another thing to be able to then do something with those insights to take action, to move the needle, if you will, and then to be able to feed those results back into your Power BI solution or your business analytics solution, and to create this sort of data-powered loop of amazingness, if you will. And so PowerApps is a companion service to Power BI. Power BI provides the ability to understand data, to get insight into your data. PowerApps provides the ability to create web and mobile applications that you can then take action on that data. And it works sort of bi-directionally. So PowerApps can both be a data collection point. It can be something that creates the data that then is used in Power BI to gain insights, and then those insights can feed back into PowerApps. And so it creates this virtuous cycle that's incredibly powerful. And look, for years and years and years, actionable BI has been the holy grail. The ability to take your business intelligence solution and to do more than just learn, but rather to use it to power action. Many applications sort of have built-in intelligence or built-in analytics, but having this at sort of a third-party position, if you will, the ability to take data from all kinds of systems and then to be able to act on that in a place is something that we've never really been able to do in the business analytics market, and now we can. With PowerApps, we've got the ability through native connectivity to Power BI to bring action, informed action, data-powered action to your data. And so to show us how that's done, I'm going to have John come out from the UK National Trust. John? Thank you.
James, good to see you.
Okay, so for those who don't know the UK National Trust, it is, John will tell you more about it, but they maintain all the amazing properties that exist across the UK. They're a big user of Power BI, they're a big user of PowerApps. They put those two things together, and they're going to show us what they've done. So, John, tell us a bit about the UK National Trust.
Sure, James. So we're a 120-year-old conservation charity from the UK, and we look after some of the most important natural and historical sites in the UK. But rather than me talking about that, why don't I use this custom visualization on Power BI to actually walk you through some of the things that we do. So as you can see here, we were founded, as I said, around about 120 years ago. And over that time, support for our organization has grown to some 4.7 million members. And we can see this in different ways by just flicking through this visualization.
So this is Power BI.
This is Power BI.
That's pretty slick.
And we're able to use it to look at some of the key activities over the course of our history, such as in the 1930s when we started to take over looking after some of these significant historical buildings, or some 50 years ago when we started Project Neptune, which is where we start to look after around about 15% of the UK coastline. And we can then use this to sort of click through and maybe drill into some of the details of some of our historically significant sites, such as Lizard Point here, which is where Marconi did the first shore-to-ship radio transmissions. And we can look at these in a bit more detail.
So actually, I know this is Power BI, obviously, and I will say one thing about this visual. So this is a visualization that was created by the Microsoft research team.
That's right.
In concert with you guys to allow us to visualize data on a timeline, much like the Sandance visualization that we got out of MSR last year. So pretty compelling way to tell your story here.
Absolutely, and we can use this to actually help us communicate to people all about the history of some of our most important places.
I think actually your plan is, if I'm not mistaken, to take this visualization and use the Power BI embedded to put it on your public-facing websites to allow your customers and users to interact with it.
Absolutely. So we have, for example, here, you may recognize this guy here, Winston Churchill. So we look after his home in Chartwell. But what you may not realize, this lady here, Nancy Astor, she was the first sitting member of Parliament, first female sitting member of Parliament in the UK, and these two were great adversaries politically. I know you guys here in Seattle like coffee, but they had a particular exchange around tea, which, as you know, in the UK we kind of like as well. But she, Nancy Astor, once famously said to Winston Churchill, "If you were my husband, I would poison your tea," to which his response was, "Madam, if I were your husband, I would drink it." But we also had the opportunity with this to look at, at some of the more, for example, in popular culture. I believe these guys were pretty popular over here as well, the Beatles in the 1960s.
You guys manage the Abbey Road studios.
So we look after all their childhood homes, so you can actually come and see the places where these guys grew up and how they're, their sort of those formative years. Also, Sir Isaac Newton, the guy who discovered gravity. So we can then take this and look at, say, our management dashboard on a property. Now, this is looking at Woolsthorpe Manor, which is the property where Sir Isaac Newton lived and where he actually first discovered or observed gravity.
So this is your operational dashboard that you actually use to manage the properties.
That's absolutely correct. So, and we can look at particular features and be able to sort of challenge ourselves on our knowledge and the condition of those things to actually enable our staff and volunteers to answer the simple question, how are we doing at looking after these important places? And we can look at things like the orchard and the actual apple tree where Sir Isaac Newton first observed gravity and say, how are these things today? And make sure that we look after them properly.
So there's a tree that still exists that the apple fell off of.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, so what are you going to show us now?
So what I'm going to show you now, I'm going to flick over to PowerApps because this is what we actually use to actually collect the data that goes into those Power BI dashboards.
So the people out in the field that are taking care of these properties actually use this app.
Absolutely. So this is an app that we've been creating over the course of the last year, and we roll this out so that our people can actually record the information that we need in order to look after these places for the future. And I'll just do a quick walk through this, if you like. So we can take any of our regions. In this case, I'll look at the Midlands. And as we were talking about with the Power BI dashboard, we were talking about Isaac Newton's home. So let's take a look at that, Woolsthorpe Manor. And here we can see a lot of different information around that particular properties and things such as the building, the interior, the exterior of the house. Let's have a look at that tree, shall we, while we're here. And so we can look at the tree, look at the condition of it, and if we think, the tree's actually in pretty good condition today, we can assign that a score. We update that information, and then this is fed through the Azure platform into Power BI so that we have a single version of the truth, and that data then can be used by all of our team to actually understand and answer that simple question, how are we doing at looking after these important places? So I can then save that, but I can also, we can use this to look at images to the actual condition.
Is that the tree?
So here we have the tree. And we can actually, if we want to update these images, we can do that as well in real time. So for example, do you mind?
Yeah.
Should we have a... And we can then save that, and that's then held onto our Azure database so we can measure the condition of you for future generations, James. Yeah.
Love it. Great. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you, John. So if you look at the sort of the power of Power BI and PowerApps to sort of come together and allow you to take action, to feed back data into Power BI, use to then take more action. You've got this virtuous cycle of actionable BI. And we believe we have the only cloud service on the planet that has this rich sort of extensibility, built-in understanding of both action and data. And that joins the list of other unique capabilities that make Power BI what it is. The first, I believe, modern BI service delivered through the power of the cloud out through all of these endpoints, whether through natural language, mobile applications, SaaS applications, or embedded in the applications of our partners or of you. So with that, we get to go to the good stuff. So Amir Netz is going to come out, and he's going to demonstrate a bunch of new capabilities that we're announcing and shipping today, a bunch of new capabilities that we're going to ship over the next 3 months. This is the fun stuff, so please help me welcome Amir Netz.
Thank you, James.
Yep.
Good morning. This is the most fun part of the keynote. This is where we're going to look at the product. This is where we're going to run some demos. This is where we're going to have some blast. So, you know, we've been releasing Power BI like clockwork. Every week, a new service release. Every month, a new Power BI desktop. There's a new service release today. There's a new desktop available today, and some of you have found it over the weekend as well, I know. Lots of features. We're not going to talk about those at all, because you can just try it. You can read the blog. You didn't come to Seattle for that. What we're going to do instead, we're going to look at what is coming down the pipeline in the next few months. We actually pulled the bits from the developers' machines, so it's work in progress. It's not everything we're doing, but the things that we can already show. So it's going to be kind of a glimpse into the future, and it's going to be super cool. And we're going to start with the topic of embedding Power BI into applications. Today, we're announcing that we have a new set of offerings in Power BI Premium. It's called EM1 and EM2, and they're designed to allow people to embed Power BI into their applications. They start at $625 per month, which is very, very low, yes? Yes, and it's not just for ISVs. I know some of you thinking, wow, it's just for ISVs. These are the guys that are going to build those Power BI embedded applications, and we do have about almost 2,000 ISVs using Power BI to build their applications. But it's also something for you, because these new SKUs, these EM1 and EM2, have the same kind of capability that you can distribute to everybody without having to license them on a per-user basis. And you don't have to write the application yourself. If you have an application that allows you to embed dynamic content in it, you can use those SKUs with it. So let's take a look at one that I know many of you care about. Let's move to the demo machine. SharePoint. You can go and embed into SharePoint your Power BI reports. They're fully dynamic. They're fully available. If I don't have a timeout, yeah, let's here we go. It's going to come. Here we go. Now it's fully available, fully dynamic. You can do the regular slicing and dicing and distribute to everybody if you use these Power BI premium SKUs, including the EM1 and EM2. And it doesn't have to stop at SharePoint. You can go here to one of the coolest Microsoft products that we released recently. These are Microsoft Teams. This is a new collaboration product that allows you to collaborate with team members using channels. And if you want to add Power BI reports into it, all you have to do is just go to the channel, add a new tab to the channel, pick Power BI, pick one of the workspaces that you want to work with. Let's go with some travel information. So I'm going to go here and find a travel demo, pick one of those reports, save it. And just like that, I have a Power BI report embedded into Microsoft Teams. So easy, including all the custom controls, fully interactive, available for you. That's how easy it is to go and embed Power BI reports into any product that allows this dynamic content, just like SharePoint and Teams here. But when we're working about embedding, we're thinking about it in a two-directional way. It's not just how Power BI embedded is showing up in other applications, but how other applications are integrated into Power BI. So let's show you some things that we're working on. I'm going to start here with a nice dashboard. This one you already know. We can embed Excel content into Power BI. It's a first-class type of information that we deal with the dashboard. So these are all dashboards coming directly from Excel. By the way, Excel now has this co-authoring directly on the desktop, super cool. But what I want to go here is show you a report that I started building. And imagine that I'm a company that is generating some quotes for its customers, and we want to track this quote generation process. So I'm going to go and try to undiagnose what's going on here. I'm going to edit the report, and I'm going to go and take the average end-to-end quote time. I'm going to put it as a color saturation on my chart. So what you see here, these are my top customers with the amount of business that I'm working with them. And generally, they're mostly green. I don't know how many of you tried the color saturation, super cool. But you can see mostly green, and one of them is kind of red. And you can see that we have some problem. So when I'm looking at Lucerne, we have about 4 days to produce a quote. But I'm looking at Pernell here, the fourth largest customer. It takes almost 2.5 weeks to produce one quote. And we can start doing slicing and dicing, trying to diagnose. And you can see here, these are the process steps for producing a quote. But it's kind of hard to see what's going on when I'm using just a table. There must be a better way to visualize such a process. And there is a tool that allows us to look at such process visualizations. This is a visual diagram of that quote producing process. And you can see all the steps on producing a quote. And what I can do now is take that diagram. I'm going to copy it, the URL. I'm going to go back to my report. And I'm going to replace this table that doesn't give me too much information with a new control. It's the visual diagram control. I'm going to paste in the visual diagram URL, press enter, and just like that, the visual diagram is showing up inside my Power BI report. Yeah, it's cool, huh? And notice how the data was automatically mapped from my data set in Power BI into the IDs of the process steps in Visio. It didn't do a perfect job. You can see here the sales queue here is still gray, hasn't been mapped, so I can correct it. I can go to mapping here, I can choose the sales quote here, and then I can go and map it to one of my steps. Let's go and map it to leads and opportunities, and now it's colored, it's ready to go. So I can go in, and now I can go and start diagnosing. So let's take a look. Lucerne Publishing, cross-highlighting, generally mostly green, a little bit of orangey, but overall pretty good. Litware here, still looking good, but I'm going to Pernell. That's one that has a red. Let's see where it is. You can see quite a few steps that are giving me a hard time here, and I may want to do something about it. So at this point, I may try to diagnose further. I can see that in the tooltip that all the top ones have this first lead scoring priority, says prioritize for field sales team, and it has this kind of prioritized treatment in all my quote producing process. But Pernell just have a normal priority, and maybe that's the issue. I need to change the priority for Pernell. Now, what I've done here, I created the PowerApp application that allows me to go and change the information for the various customers in their customer record. But moving between applications kind of not a lot of fun. You have to remember the customer ID and so forth. We can do better. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to copy this application ID of that Power application. And I'm going to go back to my report. And I'm going to insert a Power App control into it. And I'm going to bind it to the customer ID. And I'm going to put the application ID into it and submit. Now, what's happening here, this control is going to go and connect directly to PowerApps. And I can see PowerApps now showing directly inside Power BI. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I can go in and look at Lucerne Publishing, or I can look at Litware, and you can see everything changes. The visual diagram changes. The customer record is from PowerApps is changing. I can now go to Pernell here, and I can see that the lead scoring priority is low. I'm going to change it into high priority. I'm going to change it eligible for automatic approval to be available. I'm going to submit, and I just change the data directly from within the report. And you know how we call it? When you can change the data from within the report? How do we call it, Marco? We have write back. We have write-back now in Power BI. You can go, and it's a really, really high-quality write-back. By combining this PowerApps and Power BI, we can now have any kind of application when you need this closed-loop analysis, this actionable BI now available. That's super, super cool. Thank you. Now, we've been releasing this Power BI Desktop every month, and how many of you have been using Power BI Desktop? Yeah, I can see a sea of hands here. This has been amazing, amazing success. You know, the reception of the community, the enthusiasm of the community around the Power BI Desktop has been stunning. This is a product that, you know, other competitors will charge sometimes thousands of dollars for, and we are just giving it away for free because we believe that everybody should experience the data, everybody should be able to create content, and we have some really cool stuff coming in the Power BI Desktop. So I want to show you. And I want to get some help here. I'm going to invite Kim Manis, the Group Program Manager for Power BI Desktop. She's going to join us, and she's going to show you some of the things that we're working on directly from the developer's machine. What do we have there, Kim?
So here at Power BI, we love our community. And I wanted to kick it off by showing some of the ways the community is really helping us innovate month over month over month. So today is all about movies. We have this table here showing the top 100 movies by worldwide gross. And at the end of the table, you can see here I have this IMDb score. So it's a number from 0 to 10. It doesn't really pop out at you yet. So we're going to do something to make this one look a little bit better. So I'm going to jump over here to Quick Measures. Quick Measures is a new feature we added a few months ago. This allows you to take complex DAX expressions and really just apply them with a click of a button. No DAX needed, no programming needed. So the reason I'm showing you this is we have a new quick measure called star rating. So this quick measure was actually written by Chris Webb, an MVP in our community. So he went out and wrote the DAX and figured out how to translate a number from 0 to 10 into a Unicode star rating. So we're going to go ahead and apply this to our table. It's a number from 0 to 10. Click OK. And right there, you can see now the numbers really jump out at you. We can remove the first number. So now this is just a super visual way to see those numbers.
Now, this is really cool because it was really created by Chris. Chris posted this formula, this DAX formula, into our quick measures gallery on our website. And we picked up that measure. And now Chris Webb's name is showing up inside Power BI. And you can have your name showing up inside Power BI as well. Yeah, all you have to do is just post this kind of your own favorite problem-solving DAX formula, post into the gallery. We'll pick it up. We'll put your name into the product. You'll make your mother proud. You'll have a new pickup line for the bar. You know, it's all sort of things like that. You know, so it's really, really cool, right?
Yep.
What else we have there?
All right. So this table looks all right, but I think we can make it a little bit better. So sometimes you really need colors and visuals to really have trends pop out at you. So we're going to jump back into this table and look at estimated budget. And here we're going to apply a new type of conditional formatting called data bars. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this one. And immediately it jumps out at you that of our top 10 here, Avengers was the most expensive movie to film. So in case you didn't see that, I'm going to do it one more time. We're going to show data bars one more time here. And this is actually available today in Power BI Desktop if you go ahead and download it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't just amazing how this table that we just used to be just a table, now with a star rating and this data bar just look so cool?
Yep. You can actually use a bunch of formatting options with data bars to remove the numbers and kind of make this look a lot like small multiples.
Yes.
And again, these are all fully interactive. Our table and matrix can cross-highlight and drill. So just new ways to really visualize data in your tables.
And this is available today. That's super cool. That's the only thing we're going to have available today.
Yep. Cool. So the other way we've been able to innovate so quickly is around visuals with the help of our community. Our custom visuals gallery has over 80 visuals up there created by partners and by customers. You can visualize pretty much anything you want. In the past, it's been a little cumbersome to go get those visuals. You have to go to a website. You have to download the custom visual. You have to import it. Within Power BI Desktop, now we're going to enable you to launch the store and install custom visuals directly from the store in Power BI Desktop. So let's see how that one works. So here I have a bunch of custom visuals suggested for me.
Hold on. What about the one? There's the one that we just seen the the one from the UK National Trust with these timelines. It's beautiful with the circle, all the movie stuff. It's really, really cool. You'll not find it in the store.
Not
But
yet.
you'll find it in the store in a few weeks. So that will be one that you'll be able to download, or going to be available just a few weeks away. But we're going to try something else.
Yep. So I'm going to go ahead and use the word cloud visual. It's one of my favorites. I'm going to go ahead and update it right in line. And then you see here I have my word cloud. So we're going to start by looking at analysis of movie titles. So I'm going to go ahead and drag in the movie title, and I'm going to look at that by worldwide gross. So let's make this bigger so you guys can see it. So it turns out the most popular word in a movie title is the. We'll go ahead and remove those stop words. We also have a big S for apostrophe S, so let's remove that one. And finally, let's rotate this so it's a little bit easier to read. So immediately those trends jump out at you. You can see that sequels actually generate a lot of revenue for the movie industry. So now if we jump back to our report, you can see as I cross-highlight, these custom visuals are fully interactive, and now I can do even deeper analysis with these custom visuals created by our community. Again, as I cross-highlight with other visuals, I can start to get new insights. Lionsgate, Mockingjay was really their big movie. Buena Vista, Star Wars really drove revenue for them. So again, this is just another way that the community is really driving innovation in our product and helping us to release new things month over month over month.
So quick measures. Yeah, we want to release quick measures virtually every month because this is kind of a platform. We can just make it richer and richer and richer. Data bars, the direct integration of custom visuals from the Office store into the Power BI desktop. Super cool, but that's just warm up. We're now going to get to the real heavy hitters. Okay, so.
All right, we've been talking about movies. Let's talk about actors for a minute. So I'm going to create a new page, an actor page. So let's go ahead and add the name. I have this one pre-filtered already to Anna Kendrick.
So what Kim is doing here is she's creating a report for an actor. And we always kind of create a report for an entity, a report for a product, a report for a customer, a report for a movie, a report for a studio, a report for all sorts of things, right? And it's kind of pretty easy. You know, she's creating it in a few seconds. You can see it's pretty ugly. You can see that in just a few seconds. But we do it all the time. Now, this is a report for an actor, but if you want to change the actor, it's kind of a bit cumbersome, right?
Yeah, you have to go filter and search. But there's another way. There's a better way. So we're introducing the ability to turn pages into a drill-through page.
Yeah.
So what that means is with this
yeah. It's important. Yeah. You can start to get excited about it because this is going to be cool.
So whenever I see an actor anywhere in my report, and I right-click on that point in the chart, that bar in the bar chart, I can actually drill back to this page with the context passed through.
So let's see it in action.
Yeah. So let's see how that one works. So I have this top actors page. So let's right-click on Samuel L. Jackson. And now you see here, in the right-click menu, we now have a couple new options. And my actor page, Drill to Actor, is now there. So now when I click on that, I'm passed back to the page I just created, filtered by Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh, by the way, there's another button on the top there that we added, right?
So when you create these pages, you get a new button here. And so now I'm going to go back. And I'm going to jump back to the page. Let's do that one more time. Let's go ahead and look at Stan Lee. Anybody know who Stan Lee is? So drill to actor. So turns out Stan Lee authored all the Marvel movies, and he makes probably a 5-minute cameo in each one. But he's been in $18 billion worth of movie. Just an insight we learned using this feature.
How many drill-through pages can we have?
You can make as many drill-through pages as you want. And I have a couple others created already. So I'm going to go ahead and drill into my actor details page.
This is the same one, but much better design, not a
little
few
bit
seconds.
prettier. And so you can drill through to actors. You can drill through to movies. You can even drill into the different studios and kind of learn how all of their movies are doing across the board.
So as we create those drill-through pages, the whole system becomes this hyper-card, interconnected system, can drill from anything to anything to anything endlessly, just become a brand new experience that you have in Power BI, all by simply flipping that switch on that page that says, make it a drill-through page, and that's it. So beautiful, so interactive.
Woo.
This has been, by the way, one of the top 10 requests from the community, and we work really hard to make sure that it is going to be stellar.
Yep.
Now, okay, let's do something else.
Yep. So we've been talking about actors. Let's keep talking about actors for a minute. I created this page where I can compare two different actors against each other. So I have my two favorites, George Clooney and Brad Pitt. Amir, who do you want?
I'm old school. I'm going to go with Angelina Jolie. And let's go with her nemesis, Jennifer Aniston.
Jennifer Aniston.
Okay. So we just have a new pair on the screen. But if you ever want to go back to the previous pair, to Brad and George, it's kind of going to be annoying because we have to go and, again, reselect the drop down, the whole thing, all the clicks again. And how often do we have this situation where we want to go back to the previous set of filters that we had because we look at something and we just want to be able to return to them without having to go and remember everything. And this is where we introduce something new.
Yep. So I'm going to go ahead and open this bookmarks pane here. Let's pop this one open. So what the bookmarks allow us to do is save the state of our exploration as we're navigating through our report. And we can save it and really jump back and forth and start comparing and diving deeper into our analysis and coming back to what we started with. So I'm going to go ahead and bookmark this one. I've got a few bookmarks saved already, so let's jump back to that first comparison, George Clooney and Brad Pitt. And we can go ahead and look at a couple other pairs, see which ones are generating more money across the movie industry. You know, we got some Star Wars characters, and of course, comparing James Bonds.
Yeah. So it's super cool, kind of, right? We always want to be able to remember where we were. It's actually remember quite a lot of things. It's not just the filters. Remember what page you were on. It remembers quite a lot of things. And the reason why we are showing it to you in the keynote is, yes, it is a cool, nifty feature, but it's actually going to be a new building block, very, very fundamental building block. These bookmarks, we can start doing some really, really cool things when we start using them in other combinations. So imagine what happens if you start chaining those bookmarks together. And Kim created some chain here. So
I've created a bunch of bookmarks already. And if you notice, I have a little play button here. So I'm going to string these bookmarks together to tell a story about my data. So I'm going to press play here. And now you see we got a couple controls down at the bottom to help navigate through our story. So I don't know if you know this, but Amir and I, we're huge Harry Potter fans. So today we're going to do an analysis about the Harry Potter movies and see which one's best. So here I have an overview of all my Harry Potter movies. We can look at worldwide gross, we can look at budget, director, but there's an interesting insight in this chart here. So we're looking at budget by worldwide gross, and you see an outlier on the lower right-hand side. So it turns out Harry Potter Deathly Hallows Part 2, while it was the best performing Harry Potter, it was one of the cheapest Harry Potters to make. Turns out they just stole all the budget from Part 1 and made the last movie. So let's drill into Part 1. So Deathly Hallows Part 1, one of the most expensive Harry Potter movies to make, but it paid back for in dividends and worldwide gross. So Warner Brothers, they created all the Harry Potter movies. How are their franchises doing? What other movies did they make? Is this the most expensive movie they've ever made? So let's jump into Warner Brothers. So now you see here I have a table filtered by worldwide gross. Look, they have Harry Potter, they have some superhero movies, the Lego movie is one of my favorites. But let's filter this by budget and start to see which were the most expensive movies. Oh man, those superhero movies are expensive to make. But I'm really excited because, as we've seen these last couple weekends, Wonder Woman is crushing the box office, and we're going to see how this data changes in a couple weeks.
So what you've seen here is by chaining those bookmarks, we have created a full story. We're bringing storytelling into Power BI. We're making Power BI into the PowerPoint for data. And that's super cool. And I'm going to just cannot wait to see what kind of stories you are going to create, because it's going to be amazing.
Yep.
But we have a few tricks here that we use that are actually a few new features that we require to make storytelling really shine. So let's look back at the budget.
So you'll notice here with this chart, if I zoom in, we've added a new feature called Spotlight. This really allows you to emphasize this visual in the context of your report and really have it pop out as you're telling that story. Another area we've added a couple other tricks is around show and hide. So I'm going to pop open another pane called the Canvas pane. And you can see here I have all the objects on my page. And if I zoom in, you see some of them have eyeballs next to them and some of them don't. Now watch as I switch the different bookmarks. You can see I'm showing and hiding different objects as I go. So this really allows you to build up to your story, add annotations, and kind of add context as you're telling these bookmarks, as you're telling the story.
So what do you think, guys? Storytelling in Power BI. But I said that those bookmarks are fundamental object that we're going to use it in many other features as well. So let's check the same kind of bookmarks. The other features that we had there was the show and hide, and add to them the ability to have buttons activate bookmarks. And what do we have here, Kim?
Yep. So I have a table of contents here. This is a great place for my users to start and kind of dive into an analysis, knowing which paths would be best for them. So I've created a couple buttons here. I'm going to go ahead and turn this button into a link. So you'll see here I have all my bookmarks that I've created already. I can go ahead and pick one. And now, when I click on this button, I can jump into another page in that report.
And you can go back?
And if I want, I can go back. And then, even better, I can use these buttons to change my exploration within the same page of the report. So if I jump in, right now I'm looking at analysis by person. If I jump in and look at country, you can see I can switch out the visuals on the same page and let my users really switch out how they want to view the data. Let's do that one more time, analysis by movie. And if I open up that canvas pane again, you can see here, as I swap between these bookmarks, all I'm doing is showing and hiding different visuals and letting the user kind of choose how they want to analyze their data.
So this is pretty amazing, right? You just take those bookmarks. Yeah. Think about what you can create here. You create table of content, menuing systems. You can create pages where the content is being dynamically changed based on the user preferences, the user selections, and it's all, not a single line of programming is required. Nope. You don't have to know properties. You don't have to assign properties. There are no scripts. All you do is capture the bookmark, and then bind it to the button. Just say, this button is going to trigger that bookmark, and you are done. Just like that, you're going to create this amazing set of systems. Thank you very much, Kim. Yep. That was wonderful.
Thanks.
You know, I just cannot wait to see what kind of amazing stories you're going to create, what kind of systems, creative system you're going to put together with all this dynamic content now available in Power BI. Okay, let's switch gears a little bit. You know, Power BI is not just about visualizations. It's also about analytics. And sometimes analytics can be a bit heavy duty. It's more for the bean counters, the people who have to do the math, the people who have to go and worry about the money. So we're adding I want to show you another cool feature, small one that we're adding, but I think it's going to kind of open a few eyes here. Let's go back to the demo machine here. And what you see here is analysis of the production of a movie. And imagine that you are sitting in the back office, you're responsible for the budget, and this movie is going to be produced in Europe. Even though it's an American movie, it's going to be produced in Europe. So some of the expenses are going to be in dollars, and some of the expenses are going to be in euros. And as a person who is responsible for the budget, you know that you're going to be sensitive to the fluctuation of the currency exchange between the euro and the dollars. So right now, you made some working assumption that there's going to be some depreciation of, appreciation of 3% between the euro and the dollars. And that's kind of an assumption built into here to this formula that says going to be expected interest rate change going to be 3%. But what if it's not going to be 3%? What if you want to do, to analyze other scenarios as well? And this is where we are introducing a new capability, which is going to be the what-if parameters. And you can see here the button, the what-if parameters. And I can go in very easily now and create a new what-if parameter. We're going to call it the USD to Euro change. And it's going to be a number between minus 10%, so up to 10% depreciation, and maximum of 10%. And I'm going to press OK. And that parameter just joined the screen. I'm going to format it a bit nicer so it can look a little bit like the other visuals on the screen. So we're going to go and use the format painter to paint it. I think I did it the wrong way. Format painter. And now, I don't know why I did. Oh, it is. It's good. So at this point, we can go and well, we have the parameter. We have to bind it to the model. So I'm going to go and change this fixed expected change from 3% to be the USD Euro 1, and press Enter. And from this point on, my model is bound to this what-if parameter. I can go start changing it and see how it's changing. I can see that if there's going to be appreciation, I'm going to go and my production costs in Europe are going to go up. I can go play around to see what happens. I'm going to depreciation. I'm going to save money in the production, and the expenses in Europe are going to go down. So very, very easily, you have this built-in ability to build those parameters, to bind them into the DAX formulas, and just create this amazing new kind of analysis that your users can enjoy. But we can do even more than that. This is just the warm-up, because we have the power of the machine to help us. Sometimes we have to do analysis, we have to discover things, and it's kind of tedious. Yeah, something goes up. Why did it go up? Something dropped. Why did it drop? What's the difference between two things? When we do that, we are analysts, we look at that, but we can really help the machine. You can really get the help of the machine. It can save us a lot of time. And this is where we are lucky to have some of the best scientists working for Microsoft. Really the top of their field in the area of artificial intelligence. And I want to invite Pat Baumgartner, a program manager from the team, to show us what we can do with a combination of BI and AI.
Thanks, Amir. All right, so I'm going to clean up this report a little bit. And so what we've seen today is a lot of exploration where we've been clicking around and building charts and visuals. But let's take a look at how we can do something maybe a little bit better. So what I want to do is pop this up, and I can see this trend here that worldwide movie revenue has been going up and up and up, but it kind of hit a peak here at 2012 and flattened out and has spiked up again recently. And as Amir said, we have amazing talent at Microsoft Research to add all these sophisticated algorithms and artificial intelligence to help us do analysis. Given that grab bag of amazing stuff, what could we do with it? How can we imagine making everybody's analysis tasks easier? And so we might do something like, hey, this went up. Why can't I just right-click here and say, explain the increase? And so I just said, hey, explain the increase. And now I'm running a bunch of very sophisticated algorithms to look across all the dimensionality of this model and see, hey, what's the best explanation for why this went up? And in this case, it picked the movie title. And it turns out, yeah, I'll zoom in. And we can see, this was a year for blockbusters, right? So all of a sudden we had the Star Wars, Jurassic World, Furious 7, Avengers, Minions, big movies that really moved the needle for how much revenue was made in that year. But I can scroll down because it actually did this across a lot of dimensions, and it ranked the answers. So I can see production location. It turns out that there was a big increase in worldwide revenue from movies produced in the US. China went up, Hong Kong went up, but New Zealand and United Kingdom went down. Why do you think UK went up?
Well, I think the previous year we had Harry Potter, last one produced, right? So
there was that kind of change. So it makes sense, so I can keep scrolling this. And I can come down and I can see my studios, and this is a really pretty waterfall chart here. It's one of Mir's favorite. We'll talk about it in a second. But we really took the task of saying, how can we apply this technology to helping a specific analysis scenario, like explaining an increase or a decrease? And so we didn't stop at just one visual. We have other visuals we can look at here that help really get us into that increase or decrease. And now the great thing is, anytime I see something I'm interested in, I just click this plus, and I can add it to my chart. And Amir gets really excited by this chart.
This is... just think what happened here. Not only the system went automatically, looked at all the dimensionality, figured out what are the best explanation to explain that difference, the increase from one year to the other. It also created an amazing set of visualization for you to choose from. And think about this one here. How many of you actually know how to create such a visualization with this kind of half-checkered, diagonal green and red and the trend line in the middle? Even if you know how to create it, it's quite a lot of clicks and quite a lot of work. And just like that, the system created it for you. And it's regular visualization, fully interactive.
It's still the same kind of thing, so I can still interact with it and keep using it as part of my analysis. And obviously we have lots of different gestures we're experimenting with, and explain the increase, explain the decrease, compare two things together, and so we can really dig into building specific analysis paths using this technology. But let's run that again. It was pretty cool. So again, this is analyze. If you didn't see the back, there's just explain the increase. Come out of zoom it here and say explain the increase. And let's run this again. So now we're looking at 2015 to 2016, and this time the best explanation actually happened to be production location, right? So I see that the UK rebounded, went back up, and I see, China kept going up, so it's just continuing its climb here across these periods. So let's add this one, and come out here. And let's go look at this waterfall chart. Again, Amir, we take all these great notes from Amir. He's like getting into these visuals as we build them.
Yeah, I love the waterfall chart. And this is not the waterfall chart that you have right now inside Power BI. This is an improved version of the waterfall chart. I want to just show you one cool feature that we have here. Look at that yellow bar. The yellow bar is actually aggregating all the other countries together So you don't get it's gigantic without, there could be hundreds of countries where movies are being produced, but just got the top 5, and everything else is aggregated into that yellow bar, and it's the system that AI decided which one should be aggregated and which one should be shown out there. So that's one of the features, a new waterfall chart coming into Power BI very soon, but we wanted to look at China there.
Yeah, and the goal here is, again, to try to simplify the analysis process so anybody can kind of up-level their skill set. And again, we're really focused on reducing clicks here. So how can we make it really, really fast to get compelling information found? And so actually, let's explore China a little bit here. Now, I could actually even drill in. I could explain more insights here and kind of go recursively here. You guys are going to have an amazing time playing with this feature. Trust me, I just sit around exploring data all day now. But I actually want to cross-highlight and look at China. And so it's really interesting, this story of the production budget going up and up and up. And so here we can see, the difference, so 2015, 2016 movies that had at least some production in China. Mission Impossible Rogue Nation had some production in China. Kung Fu Panda 3, my son Hudson and daughter Matilda just love that movie. But then The Mermaid, we're all familiar with The Mermaid.
How many of you have seen The Mermaid?
No.
Yeah, no, it's not the Mermaid.
Yeah, you caught it. It's not actually the Little Mermaid. This is a different version. So let's use these other great features we've been playing with to drill to the movie details. And I haven't seen this yet. You can believe this is now on my to-do list. This is the 13th ranking movie of that year. This is a big years for movies, right? This is a recent movie. 131st all-time rank. The tagline for this is half fish, half human, 100% assassin. And so this is on my top of my list. So this is a movie that made $553 million. It made $3 million in the US. That's the reason we haven't seen it yet, right? And what actually is a really interesting insight, and we only found it because we were playing with this AI, right? And this AI breaks down your hypotheses. We would have had our own hypotheses for where we would have gone in the data, but instead it was the AI finding something for us to pull us through. And this wasn't what we planned to demo, but it was just too good to pass up, right? So we found this and had to use it. So anyway, I think we'll tick up the estimated U.S. gross a little bit after this event here.
So let's AI. It helps us discover insights. It also helps us understand, or help the computer understand us. And we have made a lot of investment in the notion of natural language understanding. And we've been having this Q&A feature for a very long time. We actually integrated the feature directly into Windows 10 Cortana, so you can go in and start typing natural language. And we are continuing to advance it. So, Pat, take it.
Yeah, and so we showed, actually early on with Power BI, we started with natural language, and we wanted to make people able to explore data with natural language, and we took that to Cortana. So you can actually ask for questions about your data and get answers really, really quick. And that's something we have today. So we saw earlier in the demo, we were talking about Parnell Aerospace, and needing to change quote status. So I could look up that information really quick in Cortana. But we're really excited to take that step even further. So now I can actually look for just dashboard as well. And so now I can just type the name of any dashboard, and nobody had to set anything up. There wasn't any enable something for Cortana or model your data. Now Cortana is just aware of all of my dashboards and apps automatically in Windows 10. So we've been talking about movie analysis. I have that dashboard. I can just type in the name of it. It opens up that dashboard just that fast, which is a really powerful way to think about how to get people to find information. We can also do nice things. I work with a guy named Yaron. He's been helping me out a bunch. And you see, he was sharing some stuff with me, so I can even find dashboards just by typing, my coworker's name, and all of a sudden the stuff he shared with me starts popping up intelligently in Cortana based on how much I use it. Makes it finding stuff really, really easy and very, very exciting. But we can take NL even further. So I want to switch over to my iPhone here. Great. So here I'm looking at the same dashboard, but on my phone. And we took Q&A down to the phone, so I can actually ask natural language questions right on my phone. So I might want to look at the estimated worldwide gross for movies. Maybe I want to see it by year, right? And so, this is going to bring back a chart just like Q&A does, but we're doing something a little smarter now. We're actually running quick insights, the same algorithms you saw in desktop. We've had them in the service for a while. We're running that on the result of my question, and you can see it spotted an upward trend and just highlighted it for me automatically. Right? So, building that intelligence into everything we do. So we saw the analyst version. This is what, an IW can do on the phone.
So this looks like a very nice linear graph, but what happens, what about China?
Yeah, so let's say, what about China? right? So now let's just look at the, I said production locations for China. So we can follow up on the conversation here and have a nice little conversation with what's really becoming kind of an intelligent assistant. And China, you see this huge spike upwards, right? So there's if you're producing movies in China, the worldwide revenue of this is going up, right? And it's this huge increase. But another really cool thing happened is, again, we ran the inside algorithms that we're developing.
Just before we go to the inside, people just understand what's going on here. We now move from just having natural language to move to conversational natural language. So we can have follow-up questions on the previous question. We don't have to restate the question, show worldwide movies for China. We knew what the previous question was, just refine it. What about China? And so the conversational natural language understanding is coming to Power BI.
Again, and that same built-in AI. Yeah. And so, again, that same built-in AI that we were running in desktop, we're now running integrated here as well. And so we saw a variety of insights that popped up, and we're listing them across the bottom. And one of these really kind of stood out, and it's kind of interesting to see. So let's zoom in on this one. And so this is showing the original language that the movies were produced in. And so even though we're seeing this huge spike in revenue for movies produced in China, they're still predominantly, with the exception of The Mermaid, predominantly English language movies. And it really shows the impact of kind of the changing dynamics of entertainment. Now the great thing on these mobile devices here, I can annotate this. We can note that when I actually built this data model we've been using for this entire demo had original misspelled in it. Somebody pointed that out yesterday, and I didn't have time to fix it. So we can just be able to go ahead and annotate this, share it just in line with everything we do. And we're really, really excited about the idea of taking AI and building it in really practical and useful ways in all the experiences that you use. Everywhere from an analyst who might be using desktop and wanting to find insights more quickly and speed up the process of building charts and everything they do, all the way to information workers on everything like a phone. We're really excited about the future and what we have coming. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Pat. This was amazing. So I don't have my clicker. I don't have my clicker here. Maybe you can pass through the slides now. Oh, thank you. So you've seen what's coming. We have a lot of announcements today that not just what's coming, what's available today. And you can read it in the blog. It's just anywhere from the general availability of Premium to the new EM and EM1 and EM2 SKUs. A lot of announcements about the things that are coming on the roadmap in the next few months. But it's not just about announcement. This is about you. This is about this place where you go and connect with the rest of the community members. This is where you can hear from about 20 customers, their stories and their lessons. This is where you can meet the product team, where you're going to find the whole product team available in Ask the Experts. And you can ask them more questions about how things work and what's coming and what's their opinion and how you can make things work better. This is the place where you can hear from the experts on how to use Power BI better. And this is the place where you can go and get excited and have fun, because this is going to be an amazing year for Power BI. This is going to be an incredible year for this community. Thank you very much.